This
For you all.
conference will now
First
be
of all, I'd like
recorded.
to welcome everyone to the PMT webinar. And we realize that some of you have already been through this, and it may be repetitive, but because we have some new sub-grantees and directors, we felt the need to go back and go over how to use the PMT. The first section we're going to go over is the overview and the purpose. And the purpose of the PMT is to collect performance measurement data on a quarterly basis. The purpose of this guide is also to instruct the OVC users on how to access and navigate the PMT, the actions to ensure your report is correctly submitted, and troubleshooting steps for errors that you may come in contact with. Your role as a sub-grantee is to identify individuals who need system access and understanding what data the grantee will need you to enter. Also, to add information to the SAR, enter your performance measurements quarterly, clarify and update data in response to any inquiries from you all. The PMT definition: performance management is the regular collection of data in a systematic manner to assess program outputs, outcomes, showcase program results, and improve program performance. On the reporting system, the PMT tool is an online system maintained by the OVC for collecting performance measure data from you all. And the grants management system, it's the online data collection system maintained by the Office of Justice for all grants administered through OJP. Okay, continued with the definitions. Grantee, which is us, the primary grant recipient of funds directly from the OVC. The sub-grantee, which is you all, is an entity that receives a portion of grant funding through a formal agreement with the grantees. Grantees are required to monitor sub-grantees to ensure sub-grants are appropriately spent. And the SAA is your state administrating agency, which is us, the office that's responsible for receiving the funds and reporting the data. Continue with the definitions. The SAR is a report that collects information about the sub-grantee organization, the length of the subawards, and activities to be implemented by the sub-grantee, and all allocation of grant funds. The sub-grantee data report. This report collects information quarterly on victims with VOCA plus match funding, including victims' demographics, types of victimization, and services provided. The annual grantee report. This report collects the information on victims served with VOCA plus matching over a federal fiscal year. Okay. And next, the next session will be covered by Wanda.
I'm Wanda Woods, and I'm responsible I'm the program director for VOCA North. I'm going to start by talking about accessing and logging into the PMT and praying that I don't confuse anybody. Okay, assessing the PMT. Grantees, which is us, will determine if the sub-grantees will enter data into the PMT system. Anybody that is a sub-grantee with our agency and that is required to submit a quarterly report will be responsible for submitting data into this PMT system. We will establish your process and timelines for sub-grantee data entry and review. Once I go in and set up your account, whoever the person is that is listed as either the point of contact or executive director, or different agency has different titles, the person that you guys have listed to be responsible for doing this report will get an email. And first things first, if one of your persons that's listed in here as a user is no longer with your agency, please correct that or delete that person out. We want to make sure that you're getting your notifications on when the reports are open and what you have to enter in. So make sure that your sub-grantee information is correct and up to date. Each individual that log into the system as well will have their own unique login and system access for security purposes. To log into the PMT system, their website is https and ojpsso.ojp.gov. Enter your username. In most cases, your username is your email address. And then you establish your password as well. If you are having problems with this system at any time, you can always call the help desk. But remember, they cannot add you in. That has to be your grantee, which is us. Okay? If we have added you into this PMT system as well, you would get an email address. You would get an email asking you to complete your sub-grantee information in the system. Logging into the PMT. If you forget your password, enter your username and leave the password field blank. Select Forgot Password. Enter and submit the answer to your challenge questions, which you set up when you first established your account. If this is correct, the PMT will send you an email with a link to create a new password. Okay? Updating your user account and changing your password. Account button to update your login information. And when you log into that system, make sure you go through manage user account information and set up your information then when you first get into that system. So at any time if you're logged out, you won't have such a hard problem getting back in the system. Please remember to adhere to the password guidelines that are shown on the screen. And again, select security challenge questions that you can remember the answers to. That's so important. And make sure, and a lot of times these things are case sensitive, as in make sure capitalization is right or all lowercase or higher case. Make sure you're paying attention to what you're entering in as your answer to your security response. OVC PMT homepage, okay? Now, the homepage shows a reporting schedule, but remember, that's OVC's PMT, these are their dates and their guidelines. So these are the dates and guidelines that they're giving us. So the dates and guidelines that we give you are going to be a little different from what they already have in stone, because that's when we have to make sure that all of our reports are in. So we usually go back and change our dates a little because we have to go back and check the information that you enter into the system to make sure it's correct. And go back and ask you to make corrections to it if it's not, and things of that sort. The main navigation menu, the OVC PMT homepage. That's your general information about your award and your reports. I ask everybody to make sure that information is also correct. If you see something that's not right, be sure to call your program director. Administration, list of sub-awards and user information associated with your award. When we sent you guys out those award letters, they also had your VOCA award numbers. So make sure that everything that we have entered in this system is correct from that page. Your SAR, data entry pages for all sub-grant award reports associated with your award. In this system, it's going to show you every VOCA award that you have had and currently have with OAIV. Data entry pages for the quarterly sub-grantee data report. That's where you're going to go back in. The first part is entered by us, and the second part is entered by the sub-grantee. Your reports, it lists the current and past reports that you've had and the status, whether they have been submitted, active. It shows you everything that is connected with your information in this system. Need help, resources for using the PMT and submitting feedback and questions. That is also a tab on there as well. Log out, it logs you out of the system. And next, Donzela will come aboard and start with administration section features.
Good afternoon. I'm Donzela Mattori. I am the program director for the Central region, and I will be going over your administration section features. And the first thing that we want to pay attention to is the federal award list. In this federal award list tab, as Wanda stated earlier, this shows all of your federal awards that you have with us. And also if you have any sub-awards, your sub-awards will be there as well. But please note that if you have not, if your sub-awards are not listed, they are not going to be on this list. So if we don't know any type of sub-awards that you have, they won't be on this table. And as Wanda stated earlier, that if you have somebody in your organization who has left or is no longer in the position of entering the information into this PMT system, please make sure that that person has been deleted as a user, because as she stated, we do not want them to be receiving the emails and no one knows how to get the information or to put the information in. So make sure that you stay on top of that. If you have people that are leaving your organization and they were responsible for this, go ahead and get them deleted out. Go ahead and assign someone else that will be handling the PMT reporting so that you can make sure that your reports are turned in on time and that emails will be sent to the individual that they need to be sent to. Entering your sub-grant award report. On this, you will be basically going in and entering in the information. As Wanda stated earlier, this is where you will put in the second piece of what we will put in after the first part. So as you go into the PMT, again, it's the same thing as if you're doing your reporting part. There's a 30 minutes of inactivity, and if your data is not saved, then everything will be lost. So please make sure that you always do the save and continue button when you're in here. And if for some reason somebody walks in your office and you're in the middle of it, go ahead and hit save and continue. That way your information will not be lost. Also note that if you're just simply entering it in, that does not constitute any type of activity. This system only recognizes saving or the advancement to another page as the activities that will keep your sessions active. And you will click the exit data entry button to close and exit this page. Also, again, please note that this does not save your information. So if you click exit and you have not clicked the save and continue button, then your work is lost. These are just some quick tips on being able to navigate through the system. If you can hover over any underlined text, it will prompt some language explaining the question. I like to call it the hover to discover. You must enter a numeric field in all fields that say a number. You can't just leave it blank. It has to have a value there of a numeric value. Answer all questions as best as you can. If for some reason you come across a question that's that you just quite don't know how to answer it, of course you can call our office and we can try to assist you through it, or you can contact the OVC and try to get somebody through the tech department and see if they can assist you. Also, it also tells you how to go back and reselect any data again. Make sure that you click the save and continue button to ensure that your data is not lost during that. And also there's a response, a non-applicable. This is only allowed if you need to indicate that the variable is not applicable to your program. If this is some data information that you know your agency does not deal with at all, you want to make sure that you put the NA in there or put 0 if it's applicable. The response option of not tracked, as it states here, is you're only allowed to indicate that the law, the state laws and regulations allow that type of service, but you are unable to collect this data. We know that some of you do not actually have the type of tracking system where it allows you to track certain type of victims. So if that's one of your reasons why you're unable to do that, make sure that you put in NT in that area as well. The response option for 0, again, is only allowed if there's a true value of 0. If for sure, that means that you are not collecting that in any sort of way, that no expenses are being tied to that particular type of data, then you can put a 0 in that area. And again, as you say on the note on the data validation, PMT will notify you if your response to a specific measure is not accurate. I know that we sent out some emails a couple of weeks ago about some information that was entered in on some of your reports. We were able to do that just from the information that was sent to us, and we kind of want to stay ahead of the curve in doing that. So that is the reason why we sent it out and was allowing you to be able to go back in and correct those areas. Entering your sub-grant award report data. This is where you're able to go in. This is where we were talking earlier about our agency going in and completing the part 1. I know some of you went in and actually submitted information that we needed to complete those parts, and we appreciate you all for getting that information back to us. So now you should have received an email stating that you needed to do part 2. And for those of you who have not gotten that information back to us, it was titled the fund allocations. If you have not submitted that back to your program director, please do so as soon as possible so that we can complete this and move forward with your sub-grant award report. And under those SAR tabs, you'll find a list of your SARs for each of your sub-awards. And once you go in there, you basically click on the one that you are wanting to enter the information in for. And as it states here, the grantee, which is us, will enter in part 1, and that information will be completed if you have sent us that information that we requested. I'm sorry. Okay. Excuse us, we're having technical difficulties here. Okay. I apologize. Okay, so now we've gone through part 1. So as I stated earlier, you should have received an email stating that you needed to complete part 2. And also, I would request that if you have received your email, I know everybody is trying to get their reimbursements completed and submitted to us. I would ask that you try to go ahead and get this part of the sub-grantee information in as soon as possible as well, so that we can move forward with this SAR. One of the things that it is stated in the SAR Part 2 is on question 8. It asks you to enter in your values for your in-kind cash and your total match funding. So everybody should have that information based on the budgets that submitted to our office. If you have any questions pertaining to that, again, I ask that you contact your program director for that information. Then it talks about your budget and staffing. This breaks it down as far as your volunteers as well as each individual that you have listed within your agency that are working during this current fiscal year. You do have to break it out according to your positions that you have, the number of hours that are provided that are funded by your VOCA plus your match. Most of the questions that they have in there are pretty much self-explanatory, but again, if you run into an issue with what they're requesting, you can contact our office or you can contact the OVC tech support, and they should be able to assist you through this. Once you've saved your data, you will be brought back to the review page. Once you get there, please make sure that you go ahead and confirm the information that is accurate. Everything is in there that you've entered. Nothing has been missed. And if not, then please make sure that you go back and re-enter the information. And basically the same thing I just stated, making sure that you certify that all the information is correct. Once you've done that, it has on here that you will click the box marking this SAR as complete and approve it for data entry. So before you click that box, make sure that you have reviewed all of the information for the part 1 as well as the part that you have had to enter into part 2, because we want to make sure that this information is accurate and correct before we click it as approved for its data entry and then saving it. And of course, we'll have to approve it once you complete that part.
This is Tanya. Before we go on, I just want to let everyone know, if you're a new sub-grantee and you have not gotten the email sent to you, we will be putting your organization in the system, and then you will then get an email. I just wanted to iterate that, because some of you may not have, maybe wondering, okay, where's once we put the organization in the system, you'll get an email. Email will be generated to you all. Thank you.
Okay, the next section, this is Wanda, is preparing the sub-grantee data report. The sub-grantee role in the data entry. As a sub-grantee, your role in performance measurement reporting includes collect data for all performance measures listed in the PMT. Consider using the sub-grantee data tracking template to collect and aggregate data on individuals victims served. Reporting. Report your data on a quarterly basis. Follow state procedures and deadlines for submitting performance data, which that deadline is also going to come from us as well. Communication. Contact the SAA if there are questions about how to report data. Look for emails from the SAA and OVC PMT help desk with reminders. Respond to inquiries from SAA about your data entry. The sub-grantee, which is you, performance measures. Once your SAR data entry has been approved by the grantee, who is us, the sub-grantee will then be able to complete your performance measures data entry in the sub-grantee data report. That's why it's so important for you guys to go in and complete your part once you receive that email, because it can't generate the report if you don't. Select the Enter Data tab, and a drop list will appear with reporting periods. Each reporting period will be on that drop list. Make sure you select the correct reporting period that you're reporting on as well. Performance measure screens. Users can navigate to different data entry screens by clicking on secondary menu bar above the data entry fields. Please refer to the sub-grantee data report for more detailed information about your performance measures. A lot of times people like to go back and make sure that they have their reports in. Remember, once you enter your data, it will be locked. So if you remember that you have forgotten something or need to add something else, make sure you give us a call as in your program director so we can unlock the report for you and allow you to go back in. Data entry reminders. All fields marked number will accept only numeric values. Underlined text within the PMT is a hyperlink to a definition that will appear when you click or hover over it. If you hover over one of the questions that you don't understand, it'll go more into detail about what that question is asking. Number of individuals served. Enter the total number of individuals served during the reporting period and the number of anonymous contacts. So for those that have, a lot of CAC centers have hotlines, and sometimes you get those phone calls where they don't want to give their names. Be sure you're still counting those numbers as well. Enter the number of new individuals served for the first time during the reporting period. All individuals served will be counted as a new during the first quarter of the sub-award. Make sure you remember that. all new individuals served for the first time during the reporting period. Okay? Check the box if you cannot track new individuals. Population demographics. Enter demographics for only new individuals served. That's question number 5. Question number 6, enter the types of victimizations presented by all individuals served, all of the individuals that you're serving, and even the anonymous contacts. List all types of victimizations presented by each individual. And sometimes that could be more than one. So make sure you're listing those individuals served. The types of victimizations, Direct services, information and referral. Report the number of individuals who receive each category of service. That's item number 1. Report the number of times each subcategory of service is provided. I'm going to use an example. At some CAC centers, they might have been there for a forensic interview. They might have received advocacy services. They might have stayed in, the counselor had time to do therapy services. So you make sure you count each item that individual, each service that individual is receiving. They might have also received resources. That's another thing. When you add the subcategory occurrences, you're adding all those numbers together, and the total should be equal to or greater than the number of people who receive those services. Okay? Performance measures. After completing your data entry, you'll be prompted to go to the Review tab. Sub-grantees can review all data entered in the previous tab. Any missing fields? Oh, I didn't know. I have no idea. I'm sorry. Enter missing fields. Data will be marked required. So if you try to save that report or go to the next screen without entering that data in, and it usually marks it in red and asks you to go back and review that screen. Or like I noted, it won't let you go to the next screen. You must go back and enter data in any flag fields before the system will allow you to mark your data entry as complete. The sub-grantee annually reported questions tab will appear during the July to September reporting period. These questions only need to be answered once per year. Okay? Enter all data, then select Save and continue to complete your data entry. When you finish your data entry, you'll be prompted to go to the Review tab. This is where you have a screen listing all of the responses that you have put into that system. You can review everything that you've entered. It'll show also if there are any missing fields and you need to go back. Once you complete or realize that all the information has been entered correctly, you hit the complete button and then save it. One important note, once you select save, the report is locked. If you need to unlock the report, you're going to have to contact us. Okay? And what I mean by us is your program director. After saving your data, the report will be automatically submitted through the PMT to your SSA for review. Now, in most cases, we review them before they review them. So that's how sometimes after you guys submit your report, we come back and ask you to go back and make some changes. We try to catch things on the front end before it gets to them telling us we need to also make some corrections. Under the report tabs, you can also create PDFs of your data entry in previous reporting periods. Okay, next we'll have Kanya doing troubleshooting tips and additional resources.
This is Kanya again, Program Director for the Southern Region. In some troubleshooting steps, you may encounter when you log out of PMT, your PMT account and log in again using the same browser. Try to access your report from a different browser like Internet Explorer, Firefox, or Google Chrome. Sometimes these new systems, it's is easier. You can go into Google Chrome and it'll help you get into the system quicker. Also, clear the cache and cookies on your browser. Restart your computer. Access the PMT during non-peak periods, such as early morning or late evening. Ensure that JavaScript is enabled on your computer. And if you need help, the Need Help page, you can go to that. In performance measures, there's a list of all performance measures with explanations. The sub-grantee data tracking template is a tool to help you collect the data. Frequently asked questions provides additional information on reporting performance measures. And the PMT user guide, it includes tips for navigating through the PMT system, training materials. Okay, I'm sorry.
Did they hear anything?
Did they hear anything?
I hear you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, but they hadn't heard you.
Huh? What did she? No, you all heard me, didn't you?
When did it go out?
Okay. Okay. Well, we apologize. We're having a little technical.
You went out, but you're back.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Okay. Yes.
The recording.
Jan said the recording will be forthcoming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you'll have a link to the recording. You guys will send a link out to the recording. Should be by the first of next week, if not before.
Okay. If you all didn't hear that, Jan said there will be a link sent out sometime next week, and she'll send out a link for everyone to be able to listen to the webinar again.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have a question. Can you hear me?
We still have to use data tracking.
Yes. Yes, you do have to use the data tracking sheet for each client.
And if you don't have that tracking sheet, please let us know so we can send it to you.
Okay, we'll definitely do that. So we have a question. Can you hear us? I don't think it'll
Does anyone have any questions on the phone?
Yes, we did. Okay.
Sounds like I hear someone, but I don't know if you're asking a question or if it's just background noise.
Can you hear me? Did you hear that? We have a question. Can you hear that?
All right, well, we thank you all very much. Hope you all have a great day. If you think of any questions that you may have, you can contact your program director. Of course, again, I'm Kanya Gallion with the Southern Region, Wanda Woods of the Northern Region, and Donda Lamatori of the Central Region.
Because I just have the question.
If that's it, you all have a great afternoon, and thank you once.
They're not looking at the chat.
Hello? Are y'all still there? There's some questions in the chat.
No, we can't see any questions in the tab. Can you
ask your question?
just ask your question, darling? Okay.
There were, I'm sorry.
Can you speak about the data tracking sheet?
Okay, what's the question? What do you mean the tracking? What is your question about the tracking sheet? The tracking sheet is usually used for advocates or CAC centers that are tracking their clients that they see at the facilities. That's personal information of the client and how many times they're seeing them, what are they seeing them for, all of those questions, all of those different things are in there. Reimbursement, we're not talking about reimbursement.
The question about the reimbursement process, that is another, you need to contact your, program director, Micah Thornton. That's me. That's Kanya Gallion. So, that's another conversation, okay? We don't want to get anyone confused, okay?
See, that's what I was wondering. They must have hear you at the end.
What is the data tracking sheet for each client?
A data tracking sheet is a tracking sheet that most CACs use. And what I mean by CAC, Child Advocacy Center uses those for tracking of their clients. It talks about the types of victimizations and things of that sort. And they're usually seeing the clients on a continuing basis. They keep up with these sheets to be able to check what type of victimizations, any conversations they have with the client, and things of that sort. If you need a victim tracking sheet, or let your program director know, and she'll be glad to send you one. What question?
Okay, can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Jeannie at CASA of Harrison County said, will there be a demo for us to visualize and see how things are entered, how information is entered?
I think.
Basically, Jeannie, I don't think we actually have a demo.
No, we don't actually have. The information is not really that difficult to enter. It's really very self-explanatory. Once you get into the system, if you have any questions, concerns, you can call one of us, or you can call the help desk. It's very easy to navigate through. The questions are pretty simple, self-explanatory.
Ms. Morgan said,
and also, Jeannie can get with you and kind of share with you the type of information you should be pulling and tracking, and do some technical assistance with you if that helps. By the way, this is Charlotte Burrell.
And also for the people for everyone, I'm going to speak for all of us. We will be coming out when we get to a point where we can come out and visit you all. If there's questions, anything that you need help on, when we come out to do TNA, we will be more than happy to go through some of those things with you. Write down the things that you have questions or concerns about, and we will be more than happy to come out and help you all. Okay,
there's another question. think y'all are not able to see questions right now. We use software to track the info on our clients.
We were
Is
fixing to
that
answer that,
used
Charlotte. I'm
instead of
sorry.
a data tracking sheet?
We were just about to answer that. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Tammy, you can use your software. I think the tracking sheet is just a helpful tool for those that don't have something as well to track their clients. It's a simple, basic sheet, but since you have tracking software, you know, that's fine as well.
On the support.
The question Nancy Williams is asking, are forensic interviews counted on the report? If so, and where? No, they're not counted. It's talking about types of victimizations. So that would be child abuse, sexual assault, things to that. The type of forensic interview you are doing would count on this sheet, but not the number itself.
Right.
Laura asks, is the tracking sheet an internal form of record keeping, or is there a form from you that we need to keep for reporting? The tracking sheet is usually a sheet that centers that are seeing clients on a continual basis usually use. It's really up to you how you want to track your system. It's just an easier tracking method to utilize. So it's really up to you guys what you want to use to track your system or to track your victims. Are all agencies required to use the tracking sheet? Again, yes. The tracking sheet is a helpful tool for those that want to utilize the tracking sheet. They're not required.
You're not required to, but you are going to have to use something to track the your individuals and the types of victimizations they encounter. So however you want to track your individuals or your clients, that's up to you. But the tracking sheet is a very helpful tool to keep track of the types of victimizations that you encounter within your organization. Nancy, I guess we need to say, as Wanda stated before, you do not count forensic interviews. The question is, where do we count forensic interviews? You can count the okay, for instance, let me give you for instance. If that individual that you were doing a forensic interview on was a victim of sexual assault, then you would count that number. You would necessarily count the forensic interview, but you would count whatever type of assault or victimization that person received, whether it be child abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, things of that nature.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, as long as
Sally, yes, you can use the data tracking system. It will suffice for instead of the tracking sheet, since that's the system you actually use. The one thing I will add to that is that when we come out to do a site visit, as long as you have some way of exporting that information so that we can view it, then we're okay with you using a data tracking system.
The thing here, this is Charlotte Burrell. Just remember that all of this information still needs to be entered into the PMT reports on a quarterly basis.
Yes, Nancy, we can repeat the website address.
Can I type on here?
Yeah, I can chat. You can put it in the chat.
D'Angela's going to, type the web address into the chat section.
Okay.
And then,
So tell Nancy it's in the chat section.
I got it. Thank you. Okay, Sally, we'll make sure that we make a note of that and contact her.
No,
She's asking her.
Oh.
asking her to contact her.
Oh,
Once again, before we, close the webinar, are there any questions, concerns? You all we don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. It's not really that, difficult. We are here to, be of assistance to you all, and we definitely do not mind you calling us and asking, any questions and, or have any concerns if you're not comfortable, but it really isn't that difficult. Once you get into the system, if there's something that you just do not understand, by all means, please call either of us. We'll be more than happy to help you navigate through it. But it's a pretty easy system to navigate through, and the questions are pretty straightforward.
Do we have anything anymore?
Do we have anything else or any more questions?
Thank
If
you,
not, do we
Wanda,
have-
D'Angela, and Kanya. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
You all, we definitely appreciate your feedback, your questions if you have any. We appreciate your time. Once again, thank you from the VOCA team, and we're here to serve you all as well. You all have a great day.